Now it's time for Movie Friends with your hosts Michelle and Seth. We're talking film without pretension. We're finding cats that are unexpected. We'll watch a movie, film, or schmovie, and we want you to join our journey. So subscribe and share this podcast, or this might just be the last of the Movie Friends. We're movie friends. We want to be your movie friends.
Welcome to New Release Review, part of the Movie Friends podcast. My name is Seth. Today we're talking about Kiss of the Spider-Woman from 2025, directed by Bill Condon. There will be spoilers for Kiss of the Spider-Woman throughout this entire episode, so if you have not yet seen the film, please, I'm begging you, do not listen to this episode. Please do not rob yourself of this experience. Go see Kiss of the Spider-Woman and then come back and listen. Also, quick note, we will not be spoiling the original film, the book, or the stage play, but we will be discussing parts of them. So if you haven't seen those things, don't worry, we're not going to ruin those things for you. My guest for today is Derek. He is a film lover and concert promoter in Florida. And just to begin, Derek, I want to say thank you so much for picking this movie and kind of introducing this to me, because this was not on my radar at all. And
oh, really?
I got to tell you, this has jumped up to one of my top films of the year.
Oh, wow. That's amazing to hear, man.
Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah.
welcome.
Thank you for having me. Yeah. I mean, I'm so happy to get to talk about this movie. I've been keeping track on production just because of being a fan of the original musical, and the fact that it exists is a miracle, because I'm a huge, like I already said, I'm a huge musical buff, and good movie adaptations at all, when they're announced, it's the thing of don't believe it until you're actually sitting in the theater. So when I heard that Kiss the Spider-Woman is definitely happening, I was on that. I had to spread the word, be a part of it early. So even when there was no promotion out, no trailer out, no release date out, when you put out that call, I was I remember I originally said Begonia, but then I remembered, Kiss the Spider-Woman, and nobody's going to be picking that. So I figured I'd jump into that. But man, that means a lot, how much you loved it.
Yeah. And trust me, I'm not blowing smoke or anything like that. If I didn't like it, I would be honest. But yeah, so a long time ago, many months now at this point, I had put out a call for guests, and I was like, pick whatever movie you want. And you landed on Kiss of the Spider-Woman. And I was like, what is Kiss of the Spider-Woman? What is this? I had never heard of the musical, seen the original film, heard of the book. Someone online already made fun of me for that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were like, oh, here's this film guy who loves this one starring Jennifer Lopez, but he's never seen the original. And I wanted to just be like, I haven't seen every movie ever. I apologize.
You're an authority on film and you haven't seen every film? Get out of here.
I'm not even an authority. I'm just a guy who likes
down
movies,
the whole podcast.
Right. Well, right. So going into it, I don't like to watch previews or trailers or anything like that. And leading up to this movie, I don't think I saw a trailer for this in any other movie that I've seen in theaters.
Yeah.
So all I knew was the description, which was, two prisoners share a cell, and one of them recounts a film that he loved. I believe that was the description that I read. And I had seen some stills of Jennifer Lopez, in the Technicolor kind of musical setting. And so I was like, okay, I got it. Good, whatever. And I just put it out of my mind. And I was floored in a way that I really had an emotional, physical reaction to the movie. I felt ill. I felt ashamed of being a film lover in
Really?
light of like the harsh realities of real life. This movie shook me up in a way that I haven't felt since I watched The Iron Claw and I saw the TV Glow. So like I
Oh,
really had I'm going to say a bad reaction, but like not in a bad way, like in a profound way.
I saw on your because my girlfriend and I caught a super late screening on Thursday night, and you had like just come out of the theater, so I was on Twitter, happened to see your tweet, and my girlfriend was like, "Get off your phone! Don't spoil yourself!" And I'm like, it's just Seth saying he loved it." And I saw you compared it to Iron Claw, which I still have not seen, but she did, and that's such a strong comparison because I know how, just from the reputation of how brutal that ending is, and me
Yeah.
knowing the original musical, I'm like, okay, I'm even more excited because going into it, I was cautiously optimistic, I would say, coming from being a musical fan. And like I said, a lot of these movies don't happen, but when they do, there's a lot of changes, and I'm very stubborn, retentive about any changes on my perfect original musical.
Right.
So I saw that a lot of songs from the original show were cut, and that J Lo was like a huge part of like a bigger part of the movie. But we'll get to that like during the breakdown. But I was hesitant. Then seeing some early reactions, I was hesitant, and then seeing the movie, I was just like you said, floored, because I think all of these changes were like from the original stage play were perfect for making this movie stand on its own, for being a movie at all, because there's things in a musical you can get away with on stage that you can't get away with in a general movie watching audience, and I think Bill Condon handled that perfectly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I also love musicals. If in your lifetime you are able to see, and I'm not even going to say a Broadway show, but just any type of musical theater,
Yeah.
it's such a special experience to see this thing happen live in front of you, where we know that a film or a book, everything is perfectly placed, edited, re-edited, redrafted, and of course there's a lot of pre-production that goes into a musical, but it still has to be performed live in front of you, and that's just cannot be duplicated, right?
Yeah.
So when you adapt something from a stage play into a movie, or a book into a movie, or a movie into a book, people are always like, wait, but why is it different? It's very, very hard to do. And I saw Rent on Broadway, and just it like changed my life. Like I cried for the whole second act of Rent.
It's such a good musical. It's like,
yeah, it's great.
It's awesome.
And then when the film came out, I was like, okay. And I give it a lot of grace because I love the music and the characters and everything. But the two things don't really compare that much, you know? So for me, like I went in and I saw it as it was, and I was like, I can see how this would be on the stage. But I don't know. I really enjoyed it.
I think Chris Columbus was also just the wrong director for that movie. I think his version, I don't know if that was him or studio mandated, was just felt sanitized compared to the original. And I know I was actually reading recent. Sorry for the hard pivot to Rent, but I was reading recently that Spike Lee was originally attached to the movie version of Rent.
Oh, interesting.
But because interestingly, when you have musical movies, you want to have the big stars attached. So Spike Lee wanted to have he wanted Justin Timberlake, he wanted Brittany Murphy, but because of Rent being such a huge phenomenon, the studio was the one pushing to have the original Broadway cast reprise their roles, or whoever was available, So there was a big
Right.
creative dispute with Spike Lee, and he had dropped out. I think a Spike Lee rent would have been so interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And hey, you know what? Perhaps one day we'll get it. He's done a few adaptations at this point, so
Or any Spike Lee musical, because I know he was working on his like an original musical about the founding of Viagra.
Yes. Well, so he has a film Chirac, which is a musical.
That is on my to-do list. I need to check that out.
It's so good, so good. Listeners, if you take anything away from today, go watch the original Kiss of the Spider Woman and go watch Spike Lee's Chirac.
Those are the only two movies you ever need to watch, and
Pretty much, yeah.
then you'll be done.
You'll kind of get the whole of human experience. Yeah. So yeah, this was for me a new story, but can you tell me about how you came across it? And then before we were recording, you shared a little bit about your experience with the play in college.
Huge musical theater fan to the point of in middle school and high school, I was super involved with like online musical theater fandom. I met a lot of friends through there and discovered just a lot of musicals and listened to a lot of musicals while the magical thing of that and not being in Florida, and you'll get a Broadway tour, like a few popular Broadway tours coming every year, then local productions. But there are some musicals where you just don't have access to, like Kiss of the Spider Woman. Nobody really performs that locally. And there hasn't been like a big production of it since the 90s. So that was one of those ones where you listen along on your phone and you just read along to the Wikipedia description or the Wikipedia plot summary and just kind of make up what it could look like in your head. Bootlegs are a big culture. Like I had sent you the the bootleg, which is such like that in itself as a whole was a whole currency in online musical theater fandom. I never watched a lot because I don't know, never attracted me at that point to watch, just like to watch it secondhand. But yeah, Kiss of the Spider-Man was one of those ones I discovered, and it has stuck with me for so long. And in college, in my second year of college was during the pandemic, and I did a directing for musical theater class that was on Zoom. Not the best class, but I will attribute that to problems with the professor, but also just the format of doing it on Zoom. And he had said in the beginning of the semester that you were going to pick a musical, you're going to work on directing a piece of that musical. That was his intention, but he had said it in a way where I thought, okay, we're going to pick one musical and stick with it the whole semester. So I picked Kiss of the Spider Woman. And I had even gone so far, I was telling you earlier, to buy the script online to read along with the script in full, which was the first time for me because I just had the plot description. So getting into the dialogue and getting into how well written it is. And I poured over it and obsessed over it. And then turns out we were just directing a single scene. So I was like, oh, I put in all this effort. So now I guess this podcast is making up for lost time on my Kiss of the Spider Woman love in the past.
There you go. 5 years of preparation.
Yeah.
What I didn't tell you is we're only going to talk about one scene from the movie.
Oh, and it's going to be different from the one that I directed in college.
Yeah, and not the one that you prepared for.
The one I did was right before. It was the scene right before the title track where Molina and Valentine are like becoming tender and intimate, or go into their, gonna go do the thing. Then and then the Spider Woman starts singing Kiss of the Spider Woman. I did that whole scene and then that song. And it's so funny looking back on it because doing a scene of intimacy over Zoom is just like I don't know why I was trying to do a visual bit in an audio format, but like getting one guy to reach into the screen is the best you can do. So fun times.
Right. Yeah, I can't even imagine talking about adaptations and how they lose things. I can't imagine how a stage play loses everything on a Zoom screen. Before we talk about the movie, I just want to quickly mention Bill Condon, the director.
Mm-hmm.
He's done 3 films with Ian McKellen. When people talk about, actor, director, or pairings, Ian McKellen and Bill Condon don't often come up, but I just wanted to make note of that.
Underrated one. They did Bill Condon did Mr. Holmes, right?
Yep.
Mr. Holmes was, I don't know, I was chronically on IMDb as a kid. So a lot of upcoming movies. I don't know what about Mr. Holmes, a like quiet, lovely movie, but a quiet, intimate period drama about an elderly Sherlock Holmes. I don't know what about that appealed to 14-year-old Derek, but I dragged my dad to go with me to because it was a very limited showing. So I think the closest theater showing was like 40 minutes away. And I dragged him to go see that with me. So that's just a movie that's just a special place in my heart.
Well, he has one that was really special to me as a kid, which was Kinsey.
Yeah, you mentioned that in the Discord server, and I had never heard of it.
Yeah, I was also chronically on IMDb as a kid. I would know every movie that was coming out for like 2 years ahead,
Same, yeah.
Because I would sit down and I would say, okay, let's pick Brad Pitt. So I put in Brad Pitt, and then I'd look at everything that he had upcoming. And then I would start clicking on each one and then go through every actor that was in that movie. Then I would go back to Brad Pitt, and then I would go to his next one that was coming out. And I would just go, it was so weird and obsessive. And anyway, so Kinsey was a film that I wanted to see so bad, but I knew I would not be allowed to watch it at home or in the theater. So we waited until it came out, and me and a few friends went to someone else's house where we could watch the movie. It was the only time I ever went to this friend's parents' house, and we watched the movie in the basement in the dark, and it completely blew my mind. And I was like, I want to be a sex therapist. This is what I want to do with my life. And I spent the next 3 years reading and studying, thinking that that's what I was going to go to school for. And then I didn't. I made a hard pivot. But so Bill Condon, amazingly, has just created a few films and seemingly random movies, but we both have a
love for Bill Condon.
To.
And Dreamgirls, and then he also did. I love
Dreamgirls,
another favorite movie.
I really don't like the Beauty and the Beast one, but not because of how it's made, more so just that it was a 1-for-1 remake, and I was like, why would I want to watch this?
And a weird thing about those Disney musical remakes is an allergic reaction that they, I assume, have to the Broadway versions, because any good thing the live action Beauty and the Beast could have been taken from the Broadway musical, and they just didn't.
They didn't do it. Yeah. They're all so. I stand by the only good one is Dumbo.
Really?
Because they really.
That's surprising to hear.
Story.
That sounded very judgmental. I apologize.
Oh no! That's usually the reaction that I get. I won't go into it, but basically Dumbo is about how Disney is evil. You have a 1-for-1 stand-in with Michael Keaton and Walt Disney, this guy who wants to bring all the wonders of the world into one place. And it's interesting. But Bill Condon is probably most famously known for directing Twilight, Breaking Dawn Part 1 and 2.
Yes, which I know. Happy Bill Condon month to you, Seth.
Yeah, somehow, right now we're recording this October 11th of 2025. And for 3 years, Michelle and I have talked about doing the Twilight series on the show. We just so happen to be doing it this month. And now here we are doing Bill Condon, Kiss of the Spider Woman. It's all these things have aligned to where we will be covering the same director 3 times in one month.
I think you should keep going. I think after Breaking Dawn 1 and 2, you should do a special one-off about Kinsey, since you clearly have a huge connection to it.
I would maybe a Patreon episode. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah, Condon month.
Hell yeah.
Contober. Yeah.
Contober, there we go. Let's get some
Okay.
t-shirts.
So everyone has been listening quite patiently, and they're like, when are we going to talk about this movie? Like I said already, I loved this. This, I would say, is probably top 3 of the year for me. I still think Sinners might be the best because that was such a fun movie. It was a good time. There was a lot of emotion in that, but this movie really affected me, and I really like movies about movies.
Mm.
And Hollywood likes to award movies about movies. In case no one has paid any attention,
Oh yeah.
the people who are giving out awards for art are usually artists or craftsmen themselves. And so they can really relate to the story about, falling in love with the movies or being an artist who no one understands. And this movie, I mean, I hate awards, but I do feel that this movie's kind of primed, if it doesn't completely disappear, primed to, speak to people who do love the medium. And
Yeah.
as I was talking with you, I mean, as I said earlier, I just felt such a, like almost like a real shame for thinking like, oh, I would be the guy in the prison who is like so escaping reality. And there's a few moments in the film with Melina where there's a line that doesn't get very much focus, but Melina says, "Oh, look at how the candle casts shadows on the wall," and Valentine is like, "I've never noticed that before," and Melina says, "I watch it all the time. It helps." I can't remember if they say it helps with the boredom or it helps pass the time.
I think it was past the time.
Yeah. And it's like, well, obviously that is film, right? That's what film is. It's casting shadows on the wall. And we know that Melina had this profound growing up experience of just being sat in the theater and watching, and that's what passed their time. And I think that the movie is showing us that like the power of art to transport us out of a bad place where we are. But I found myself wanting the approval of Valentine, who is so, he's escaping in his own way, but he has like practical application to topple the government that is doing the bad thing to the people.
Yeah.
I really thought it was very profound. And let's talk about Melina.
Yeah.
If you would. Yeah. So Melina in this version of the film, surprisingly, they did not bring William Hurt back to reprise.
I was kind of shocked. I wondered, he must not be that busy right now.
Right.
Haven't heard about him in the news in a while.
Yeah.
I actually just another hard pivot. I just watched Altered States for the first time. And that became
my God, it's so good.
I rarely rewatch movies, and then it's so rare. But I watched it like last week, and then saw it again 2 days later because I just loved it so much.
Yeah, Altered States is very good, and he's so good in it. My biggest beef with the original film is just William Hurt is playing Melina, and it just doesn't make any. It's a good performance, but it's like, why is this white actor playing this character? And it kind of took me out of it a little bit. But in this film,
that's kind of a problem with the Broadway show too, because I would never speak ill of the dead, but Brent Carver, one of my favorite Broadway actors, may he rest in peace, mm-hmm. was Melina originally on Broadway, and he is a very white Canadian man. Mm-hmm. A brilliant job in the role, but yeah, so I'm glad they did not do that this time. Third time's a
Right.
charm, I guess.
Right. Melina in this film is played by Tonatiuh, who I don't think I've seen before. They were in
He's a
Carry
new.
On.
They're a newcomer, I
Yeah.
believe,
Yeah.
comparatively.
So, yeah, how did you feel about Melina in this film?
I thought he was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
This is, I think it's a huge Stars Born performance. I think
Mm-hmm.
maybe on par with Spielberg's discovery of Rachel Zegler in West Side Story.
Wow.
It feels like a huge, like, where has this actor been, and what a, like, completely embodying the role.
Yeah. I got to be honest, when the movie started a little rough and rushed for me,
Yeah.
but then going back and like watching the original film just starts in the prison with them like already Melina is telling the story of the movie.
Mm.
And you get this long kind of panning shot of the whole cell. So I guess that the story just begins, because for
Yeah.
me, I was like, "What is happening? Like, this is too fast."
Same thing with
Like,
the
I know you
musical
put some,
too. The musical also starts with them just already in the prison.
yeah. So this one, I mean, Condon did put in like a little bit of setup as we see
Mm.
Melina walking in. We get some text on screen explaining like where we are, when we are, what is happening. So, so yeah, what I thought was rushed apparently is the most time that anyone has given to the beginning and setup of the film.
Yeah, but what made this, the beginning did also feel noticeably rushed to me, but the original, again coming from the original musical, it's actually because you were saying that Molina, yeah, in this one Molina walks, like you see the walk up to, he's now cellmates with Valentine, but in
Mhm.
the original musical, it's Molina who has already been in there. They throw Valentine in with him, and then it
Oh.
immediately goes into the first number. The first number. Her name is Aurora.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Very
So
different
you don't
then.
really feel the you don't really feel how quick the intro is, because it's that quick. It's blink and you miss it.
Right. Right. So Melina is a spy,
Yeah,
basically. And
not by choice or want, of course, but it's of course a necessity.
this was the part of the movie that really hurt. Like, just made
Yeah,
me feel ill, because you have this character of Melina who is so full of life, so interesting and fun and caring and kind, but then you add in this layer of deception, and how they get the other person to feel comfortable and willing to open up is through movies.
yeah,
And that was so, like, it was so profound to me to be like, yeah, like, it is. People will complain about movies being manipulative, and I always say, of course it is. Like, what are you talking about? You're
yeah.
trying to evoke an emotion.
There's the old quote of cinema is the empathy machine, and
Right, of course, right.
this kind of manipulates that into, you like what you're saying.
So it's through the retelling of film that Valentine goes from "don't talk to me when I'm reading, don't talk to me when I'm not reading" to now being like, well, hey, what about maybe you could tell me a little bit more, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I love it. And then also, they're not only playing Melina, but everyone is playing dual roles uh, of
which,
Kendall Nesbitt.
yeah, that is a another adaptational change that I thought was brilliant, because, like I was saying, there are things you can do on a stage that you can't necessarily do in film. So that
Mm-hmm.
wasn't a thing in the original stage show. The original stage show was like the movies, like Aurora would come in and be involved in whatever scene was happening in the jail, or there would be like a sign overhead would fly in, there'd be dancers, but it would still be happening like in the jail cell. They presented in the original stage version the segments of Aurora or the talking about the movies. There was they didn't talk about one movie for the whole time. It was more like scattered recollections of different roles of this actress. And if a character in the stage version is interacting with Aurora, it is themselves like speaking to her, or it is they are embodying something that she is saying. Like there are moments where Molina will sort of like pantomime or like a shadow what Aurora is doing, which of course, when you have the two actors together on a stage is something you can easily do, but that doesn't read well in a movie.
Right.
So I thought it was brilliant to make them actors in the movie as well.
Right. Yeah. And so their mental image of themselves, that's what's interacting with this character.
Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't, correct me if I'm wrong, but she does not come into their cell. They leave their cell to go to her.
The only exception is when Molina is under morphine after after being poisoned, when he gets the morphine induced vision,
she comes into
of
the
Spider-Woman.
infirmary. Yep. Yeah, but so that also really spoke to me of like, you know, our love of film, and I'll say just stories. Like film is what's being used, but it's storytelling, right? And our love of film and storytelling can take us from where we are to another place, but it can't necessarily bring that other place into where we are. And I think that's it. It's such a great, like, we all love to escape and we all love that, but at a certain point we do have to like face reality. And so I love the pairing of these two characters where you have this queer character who's obsessed with film, and then you have this revolutionary guy who is not interested in, you know, what he would consider to be like frivolous things, to the point where Molina is offering him chocolate or chicken. And he's like, no, like, that's okay. Anyone else would be like, oh my God, this is amazing. Ah. But he's built these kind of defenses. And I love the two of these characters being put into the same cell because it's like, hey, look, you know, fascism comes for everybody.
Yeah.
It doesn't, you know, it doesn't discriminate between whatever. If you are deviating from whatever the fascist thought is, you're all in here together. I loved, I really loved that.
And the magic of Tonatiuh in this role is just how likable he is, how charismatic he is, and how natural he is.
Mm-hmm.
Like he is like, he describes this, and even like Molina even admits in the movie that it's cheesy, it's camp, but he delivers these plot descriptions with such conviction and such passion that it's like it has the same cadence of like just talking with your friend about your favorite movie, and he's so likable in this movie.
Molina is a character that's written, I believe the novel's written in like 1976. The first movie comes out in 1985. Stage play comes out in 1993. Molina is a trans character. I love the line. I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's like, well, what's wrong with being a woman? Why would that be a bad thing, right? And for Valentine, who is trying to retain what he considers to be his dignity, right? To be offered dignity and respect and care from this person who he believes is lowering themselves, right? Like throughout the film, Valentine keeps saying, "You're a man. You're a man. Don't let people walk all over you. Don't reduce yourself to being a woman." That's
another interesting adaptational change, because in the original musical, there was never any connotations of Molina being trans. I mean, you could have taken it as it, but the way it was played, at least in the like the Broadway production, the way it was played was of drag,
Yeah.
where Melina just wanted to look the part of Aurora, wanted the
Right.
glamour, wanted the fashion, and
Right.
because of being used to that, I actually didn't clock that they had changed, or at least it was being played to Melina being trans until reflection after watching the movie. But then at the very end, in the final song, only in the movies, with just one simple pronoun change, because in the original musical, when they're echoing the "Her Name Was Aurora" song from the beginning, but they say his name was Molina, but now in the movie, I caught that they changed that line to be "Her name was Molina," and that was the moment. The rest of it, like the way that the character had been subtly, so like brilliantly played throughout, had like all hit me at once. I was like, holy shit!
Right. Yeah, and in the prison when they say goodbye, Valentine, for I think the last time that they speak, addresses them as Molinita, which is the feminine version, right? And so it's this acknowledgement of like, now I am able to address you as you want to be addressed, and fascinating.
Yeah,
I mean,
playing Melina as trans is brilliant, and also another quick adaptational change aside, something that's such a small detail that's so much better in the movie. Actually, it's not even really a small detail. It's kind of one of the only things I don't like about the Broadway musical was, and I correct me if it's not, it may be the same in the movie or the book. I mean, you saw the original movie, so it may be the same there. But Molina's crime was, they called it was corruption of the youth, and how they played it in the musical is that it was like a sting operation, almost like a to catch a predator type thing, where they set up like a young boy that Molina didn't know was a minor, and caught Molina like sleeping with a minor. Dicey to say the least in the original musical. So I'm glad they changed that too. I think it was like public indecency for bathroom sex.
Yeah, in the film, in the William Hurt one, and also I don't mean to keep calling it the William Hurt one.
When you have William Hurt, he's just William Hurting all over the place. Like you can't.
Well, you also have Raul Julia playing Valentine, he's so good in it. Yeah, he's so good in it. But in that one, it's also, that he was with an underage person, and it's rough. Like, it's rough. And so I'm not surprised at all that they changed it for this version. So Melina is using everything in their power to pull information out of Valentine, and then in the end decides like not to betray them, basically. The scene where Valentine soils himself because he's been poisoned, and then Melina helps clean it up. It's like, it's just amazing. Like the just the human like rawness and the affection and care that they're able to show in this really dire situation. And it's again, like a lot of the stuff has to do with this idea of dignity, right? It's a very undignified thing to have another person clean up your mess. And this movie does not shy away. Like, we see all of it. And I think that if you're not, as we say, like locked into the movie, or if you're not on its wave, that this could be like, what is this? But to me, it was a very beautiful representation of two people needing each other, and Melina helping Valentine retain his dignity. But okay, so anyway, this is gonna be like a 3-hour episode. Okay, Melina is released, and they decide to help Valentine pass on some information. I had no idea that this was coming. They are followed, caught, and then killed by the revolutionaries. And to me, I thought, oh, this is a mercy killing because they know that if Melina is captured, they'll be tortured. But then I read that it's actually because they thought Melina betrayed them and brought the police. And that, when I read that, it was like such a devastating, because it was like, no, they were trying to do the right thing. And so that whole end, I was
shocking because I know I keep parroting, how it was different from the original, but this really was. Is very different from the original musical in a lot of great ways. The original way of how Melina goes out is he gets caught by police doing the call and brought back into jail. Then they have him across from Valentine. The warden has a gun to Melina's head. And I know you said there wouldn't be spoilers for the stage version, but here we go anyway. They are trying the last ditch attempt to get information out of Valentine, so they put a gun to Melina's head, and Melina is like telling him like, "Don't do it." Like they shoot and kill Melina like right in front of Valentine, which
oh my God.
I mean, I love that ending, but I also love this ending. I love how they're complementary to each other and they're better for their mediums. Like the overall adaptational viewpoint of the new movie is to provide a more clearer delineation between the heightened musical sequences, the heightened movie sequences versus the harsh reality of the world.
Right.
That original ending works for the musical because the whole thing is heightened. It's a very good ending, but it is a very melodramatic ending. Whereas this was just like brutal. Like you see Molina out on the sidewalk bleeding out in a pool of his own blood. And it's such like a quick, it's not like there's not like a grand, people are yelling at each other and Molina loudly goes, "I love you," before being shot. It's so like not mean. I would say it's so like grimy.
Yeah, it's rough.
Like it's very shocking. It's rough.
Yes.
It's shocking
and upsetting.
And I loved it for the movie.
That's why, like when I got out of the, I called my wife and I was like, I feel ill. Like I don't feel good. And then walking into the theater, led by his mother as the usher.
Oh
and
God, that whole sequence.
Just sat down again to watch, and this was the part where again I was like, oh my God, like am I doing this? Am I here in the theater to escape the realities of what is going on in the world? It's very tough. Okay, so Valentine
in kind of a meta way too. It's showing that cinema has a responsibility.
Yes,
to not hide these things.
Absolutely. Yeah. I couldn't say it any better. Cinema has a responsibility, and we as the lovers of cinema or the makers of cinema have a responsibility. But I should say, I've been really coming at it from that stance. I should also say that like the movie is saying, hey, there is a beautiful medium out there that has helped people through hard times. And I think that is also a really valid way of looking at parts of the movie. And that's also something that it's beautiful. It's beautiful that humans are able to create art that helps people feel better about their circumstances. Okay, so Valentine is played by Diego Luna. And going into this, that was probably the thing that I was most excited about. I really love Diego Luna. I've watched him just for years and years. I've never been disappointed by him, and I've kind of always been impressed by him. I'll shout out one other movie that I think is probably his best performance, and then I would say this one, Mr. Lonely from 2007. This is directed by Harmony Korine. and Diego Luna.
Oh, I have heard of this.
Yeah, Diego Luna
gotta watch
plays
it.
a Michael Jackson impersonator who goes to kind of like a place with a lot of other celebrity impersonators. It's very odd, but it is so beautiful and also kind of devastating in a way. So shout out Mr. Lonely. If you like Diego Luna, you have to see this movie.
Now we're at the original Kiss of the Spider Woman, Chirac, and Mr. Lonely. Those are the only 3 movies.
It's a great triple feature, I gotta tell you. How did you feel about Valentine in this?
I mean, I loved him. He was such a great. He's so perfect. Well, another moment where I'm going to pair the original the differences, because a lot of Valentine had a lot of solo songs in the original musical that were beautiful character pieces that I urge any listener to go listen to the song. If you're not going to listen to the whole Kiss of the Spider Woman, listen to 2 of the songs that were cut. Listen to Marta. Listen to I believe it's called The Day After That. But those, and I understand why they cut them. It's because Diego Luna, brilliant actor, he cannot sing.
Yeah, he's
not a very good singer.
It was straining, I would say, throughout this, but not in a way that bothered me, I guess I'll say.
Yeah, so listen to Marta, listen to The Day After That. Brilliant character pieces for Valentine, but they are written for like an operatic male voice, and it's so beautifully done. But again, like going into how they struck a harder difference between reality and the musicals, I think casting a non-singer as Valentine was a brilliant choice, especially with how incredible of an actor Diego Luna is.
Yeah.
Except it does make that new song they threw him a bone, Everyday Man, very very cutesy, very like reminded me of another one of my all-time favorite movies, Young Girls of Rochefort.
Sure, yeah.
And giving that to him was like, it's silly, right, but it had to happen. It's sweet.
I liked that number. I liked all of his musical stuff. When they're developing the photos and that whole sequence, I was like, you know what? I kind of love this.
That's one of those things you just got to like. It's smiling ear to ear.
It's right. But like you said, what the movie does really well is it shows us these 2 things at the same time. I would not be surprised to hear people call this like tonal whiplash. You know, if you're not able to bounce between the 2 things, you'd be like, wait, here I am watching people getting tortured in prison, and now I'm watching Diego Luna dance around a development room with Jennifer Lopez. What is happening here? But God, if you can,
it's also beautiful. And shout out very quickly to John Kander, Fred Ebb, the composers of the musical. Yep. A lot of their musicals are like that. They are musicals that use the artifice of the format for showmanship, but while also not shying away from hard subject matter.
Right.
Like they famously used Chicago and Cabaret.
Yeah.
And an underrated one, the Scottsboro Boys, which should 2 white theater people have written about the Scottsboro Boys, which for those who don't know the historical context, it was 9 black teenagers who were accused of raping 2 white women, and a hard subject matter. And I think the musical, for what it is great. 2 white guys shouldn't have done that, but just Kander and Ebb, brilliant at having that nice tonal balance.
Yeah. So Valentine is, as I said already, you know, he's a revolutionary. He's gone on a hunger strike. He was tortured already. One of his accomplices is being tortured as we speak. He has all of these different things going on, and yet within himself, he admits to like a great hypocrisy, which is that he loves a rich woman. Like, and again, I love I love that, they give Melina this story of, here is this wonderful, fun, caring, giving person who also is a traitor and a spy, right?
Yeah.
Ultimately being vindicated. But you also have Valentine, who is all of these other things, and yet he is a hypocrite. And it's just, I feel like all I'm saying is nice things about this movie, but it's just a beautiful study of humanity. And I love that they give that to Valentine. So then as their relationship develops, they fall in love with each other and they have sex. And I was really like, is Valentine going to be like mad or like, I don't know. I didn't know how it would be, the morning after, but they really develop like beyond a romantic love. They really develop like a trust and a care for each other. It's pretty,
and their chemistry plays it off so beautifully.
Yeah. Okay. We've talked for an hour now. For the
real quick about Diego Luna. Another change that I really loved was back to the final song, "Only in the Movies."
Mm-hmm.
That tango that happens in the original musical is between Molina and the Spider-Woman, and now in the movie they changed it brilliantly, and I don't know why this was never a thing in the original, to it being a tango between Molina and Valentine,
mm-hmm.
which was so beautiful and so well choreographed. And it was beautiful,
mm-hmm.
perfect. But anyway, yes.
And it's heartbreaking because, Molina has also had this other character of the waiter who is married, and that scene, the final scene between them, is also just so devastating. Of you let me love you, and you let me, I can't remember what word is used, but like cherish you, and you've never had any intention of reciprocating that. It's so devastating, and so here in the the dying moments, it's like to dance with your partner, and no longer a fantasy, like you said, that making the difference between, it's not just like, here is this woman, here is this actor who I've loved my whole life and who has like helped make me who I am, and yet I can never actually touch them. Now in my dying moments, I'm not fantasizing about either a man who I never touched or a woman that I never touched, but I'm dancing with my real partner. And like, that's just so, oh my gosh. It's
God,
just,
this movie's so good.
It's beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Good.
Okay. So we've been talking for an hour, and, we have alluded to her presence, but
yes,
the Spider-Woman herself, Jennifer
Lopez.
How'd you feel?
She was my biggest, just like how Molina is so scared of the Spider-Woman. I was so scared of J-Lo going into this. I mean, she has a reputation, of course, famously. And I was hesitant and worried because I heard how much of an expanded role the Spider-Woman had. Because like I said earlier, in the original stage version, it's like fragments of different movies of this actress that appear, and there was never one long storyline set in a movie. But I think it was fantastic. There was a line, because I probably shouldn't have watched the trailer like you did, because you were perfect about that. The way that first trailer was edited, with Molina's line that is really just like a quick aside in the movie, but in the trailer it's edited to be like, this is a core part of the movie now, of a line about like Hollywood tried to pass her as American, but she was always Latina.
Yeah.
And the way it is cut in the trailer, the way it is placed on J-Lo made me think the worst of like, oh, so J-Lo using her producing role, or I was getting real conspiratorial.
Sure,
I said, I get nervous about adaptations.
Sure.
Where Aurora, the actress, is not like, she's a main character, but the mystery of who she is as a person is never a thought, and it's you know about her through Molina's love of her.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was worried they were going to expand it too much and be like, oh, kind of J-Lo, her own life experiences being written into the character of Aurora.
Right.
If that makes any sense.
Sure.
But I think, again, I think we need better trailer. We just need better trailer editors in general. Because that was such like a nothing in the movie.
Right.
There was no worries about that, because she did it perfectly. They expanded it while also leaving in that air of, you only know her through Molina, and you only know her through the movie.
Yeah, and I mean, we get a lot of, razzle dazzle and technicolor and beautiful movement and sequences and songs,
which I thought they would like. I thought they killed you for trying to make a movie this bright nowadays. Because you compare like the way these musical sequences look like to like Wicked,
right?
And which looks like they gave Wicked the color grading of like when a really jingoistic military action movie goes to the Middle East.
Right.
Yeah, where it's like, so it looks so sepia tone,
right,
in like a slapping a filter on type of way, where they don't let it be colorful,
right,
in for the idea of it being realistic.
Right. Well, and what I liked about it is that it does capture a lot of the feelings of watching older Technicolor, grand musicals, and they weren't afraid to make certain things look like a set, with painted backgrounds and a stage that's maybe just like one size too small for this scene. It should be a little bit bigger, but movies have a budget and you can only do so much. I like that it looked like a movie.
Or like sequences where there's big open space too that isn't afraid to look not realistic.
Right.
Like the whole Gimme Love sequence, taking place in like a abstract version of a bar that's like all red with wide open space, infinitely going up walls, almost like, I would say, Dr. Seuss like brush tones to like the outlining.
Yeah, that song,
it was so brilliant.
That song was very that sequence, it was very Singing in the Rain, that bar scene during the musical montage towards the end. I loved it. I thought it was great. And for Jennifer Lopez, I think that Jennifer Lopez is a good actor. I grew up watching Selena, loved her in that. She did Soderbergh with Out of Sight, opposite George Clooney, which is really, really great. I like her even in like The Wedding Planner. And I think that there's a lot of movies that she's done that people would Shall We Dance was another really big movie for me as a teenager. So I'll shout out Shall We Dance. But I think there's a lot of other movies that kind of fill in her filmography where you could be like, okay, Atlas 2024, The Backup Plan, What to Expect When You're Expecting, Shotgun Wedding,
This Is Me Now.
Yeah, and like you could look at all that stuff and be like, all right, whatever. But I do think that she's more than capable of acting and performing, and God, like her smiles in this movie, I was just like, is this the most beautiful a person has ever looked? So charming, so dazzling. I loved how she was able to imitate that old style of acting in musicals, with some of her facial expressions.
I don't want my opening thing of this section to be misinterpreted by anybody as being against J-Lo, because I also love her as an actress.
Yeah. No, I don't think so. I think I
I
understood what you said for sure.
Yeah, I'm just like, it's mostly again about trailer editors need to be better. But I thought she should have been nominated for an Oscar for Hustlers. She was incredible in that movie.
Yeah,
Even a movie that was not as widely well received, I really liked "Marry Me," her rom com with Owen Wilson.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that one.
They were such a charming movie. It's so like their chemistry is really great, and she's just comes off as so lovely in that movie. So I agree with everything you've said. She's has an old Hollywood glamour to her. She's so beautiful and so like she does everything. She's an incredible singer in this, incredible dancer. Her performance is brilliant. It complements the others so well. I did also, when they first announced it was going to be J-Lo before the trailer came out, I knew I was going to love her in this movie. Like I was like, that is the perfect person to cast for Aurora.
Yeah.
And it also helps of her being a producer on this, which is going back to what I said at the very beginning. A lot of musical movies get announced and then just never made. And I think that's just because there is a lack of interest.
Yeah.
And especially a musical like Kiss the Spider-Woman, it won Best Musical in its year, but there has never been it's never been brought back to Broadway, never any big splashy revivals since then, not a musical other people are doing or talked about. So the fact that this exists, when this movie exists at all, when so many other musicals have, like Wicked struggled for 20 fucking years to get a movie. And I think that is a huge part to do with J-Lo. Yeah. So the fact that this movie exists at all, regardless of how well it does at the box office, is a miracle.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. Quick note. There's a moment, I can't remember what song it's during. It's when they're at the club, when she like spins on her butt with
that fucking spin move
with a drink in her hand. And I was just like, oh, that is, because going back to Singing in the Rain, there's so many little moments like that are just beyond like technical prowess of dancing that are exciting and has character. And there were several moments in this that she pulled off for me. I also really appreciated, again, I grew up watching her and Selena, obviously her music. And what I really appreciated about her casting was that Jennifer Lopez is now 56 years old, right? She looks great in this movie, but she's playing someone who is an established actor, who's been around. And they didn't cast someone who was 30 years old. They cast Jennifer Lopez. And it was great to see a 56-year-old woman play this role and absolutely kill it. And yes, of course, she's in full Hollywood makeup the whole time. But as I watched it, I was like, she's older now. Like Jennifer Lopez is older now.
Yeah.
And it's just great to see that. We don't often see that. And thankfully now we're seeing, women in middle age be put into lead roles more and more and more.
Yeah.
And so, I just had I had a twinge of sentiment as I was watching her of like, oh, like, here she is, and she's still doing it and killing it. Like really, really. Yeah. I can't emphasize enough, like how starstruck I felt just every time she smiled. I was like, what's happening?
It's such a winning performance, and it really also the role, and that's a great note about this being a great piece for her at 56, because this role of Aurora had the same use or for the legendary Cheetah Rivera
Right.
when it was on Broadway in the 90s. Because she was, I'm going to look up how old she was at that point. But she had already been a very established actor for 30 some odd years. She broke out with West Side Story in the late 50s, then Bye Bye Birdie in the 60s. She was already a legend by the time she was doing this. She was 60 when Kiss the Spider-Woman was on Broadway, and same thing, effortless performance. So it's just such a great role.
All right. Well, hey, again, genuinely, like, I really want to thank you for picking this movie, because I probably would not have pursued this. I had no idea what it was. And it's, like I said, top 3 of the year for me at this point. So thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you for coming on and doing this. This was great.
I'm really glad. This was one of my biggest worries beforehand was like a weird anxiety of like, oh God, I'm worried we're not going to have anything to talk about. And which I don't know why I ever worried, because now we're also like an hour 17 into recording, and we were already talking for like 45 minutes before we were pressing record. So you've just been such a wonderful person to talk to, Seth.
Oh, thank you.
And I can't thank you enough for having me on here to talk about this.
Thank you. Well, yeah, the feeling is mutual. Derek, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter I'm probably gonna have to spell it out because my @ is Karadnyarsnyas. I that is a username I've had since I was 14. I thought it was funny, and it's still funny today because it's my full first, middle, last backwards.
Nice.
But it's KEREDNAYRSDNAS. Hope you had your pen and papers out there, guys.
And I'll put a link to that in the show notes. So definitely.
And my letterbox is a lot easier. It is Garfello, GARFELLO.
Very good. Very good. Well, hey, thank you very much for listening wherever you are. If you haven't done so already, we'd love it if you give us a rating and a review wherever you're listening. Hey, if you're on Spotify, you can leave us a comment right on the episode. Oh my gosh, isn't that great? You can also send us an email, moviefriendspodcast@gmail.com. Let us know what you thought about Kiss of the Spider-Woman. Please, actually, I would really love to hear some feedback on this movie. You can also support the show, patreon.com/moviefriendspodcast. $5 a month gets you access to all of our additional episodes and series, our patron-only Discord. You get to vote on upcoming movies and monthly themes. Oh my gosh. And hey, you get ad-free episodes. You know, your life is but a short moment in the timeline of human history, and so little of what we do really matters when you think about it. But today, you have an opportunity to do something to make your life meaningful. That's right, folks. Patreon.com/moviefriendspodcast. And hey, you know what?
Existential as all hell. Yeah, Patreon read. I love that.
Yeah. And hey, if all of those things aren't good enough for you, we're also making a movie with the money that we're getting from Patreon subscribers. So support the arts, folks. It won't be as good as Kiss of the Spider-Woman, but yeah. Anyway, hey, thank you, Derek. This was awesome.
And thank you again for having me, Seth.
And thank you very much for listening wherever you are. Until next time, have a good one.
Bye.
Movie Friends is produced by Seth Vargas and Michelle Rubenstein. Theme music by Jean Marie Vargas. Visit us at our website, moviefriendspodcast.com, and please subscribe and rate our show wherever you are listening. You can support Movie Friends at patreon.com/moviefriendspodcast. Thanks for listening.